Hi everyone, Leanne from No Cure for Happy, and today's video is just going to be a few more facts about mastectomy, some things that I left out of the last video that I thought would be important to share. So let's get to it. The first thing would be that mobility is affected. So my range of motion with my arms from the shoulders down is really affected. I'm not really able to put my arms out laterally. I'm not really able to put my arms out straight forward with a full straight arm. I have to use like a really kind of a 90-degree or a 45-degree bent elbow in order to do those movements. Also, putting my hands straight above my head is a bit of a challenge. That's probably about as far as I can go. Let's see here if you can tell. It just does a lot of pulling in the pectoral area, and it's just a feeling that makes me feel like I need to stop. So in exercise and in any kind of body movement, we talk a lot about like if something hurts, then stop doing it. So that's kind of like when I put my arms straight in the air to like raise the roof. It hurts, so I have to stop. Another thing that was affected by mastectomy is what I was gonna say was you don't have to get reconstruction. I was offered breast reconstruction as an option for a procedure that could be done in tandem with my mastectomy. And I immediately jumped at it. It was presented to me as sort of like a, duh, yeah, of course you're gonna do this kind of thing. And I have to say that like, when I look back on that, maybe that's a little bit presumptuous actually for any doctor, male or female, to sort of just like jump in and assume that any woman would want to go ahead with a breast reconstruction right away, like immediate reconstruction or even delayed reconstruction. I think reconstruction is one of those things that is a very, very personal choice. And initially when I jumped in and said yes, like let's do immediate reconstruction, my thoughts were about how much I was enduring at the time and would have to endure throughout this whole battle, that I was thinking about reward. And I was thinking, well, how can I talk myself into accepting this process a little bit more and having more buy-in personally? And one of the things that came to mind was if there was some sort of reward for me. And of course, surviving is a reward in and of itself. But I just felt at the time, I was like, yes, give myself a reward of breast reconstruction. And yeah, so that was interesting because throughout waiting for my surgery to actually take place, I went through the ups and downs of, am I making the right decision? Is this the right thing for me? Am I putting my family through these surgeries and these procedures and the recovery unnecessarily? Is this something that will work for me? Am I making the right choice? I had fears about whether it would be aggressive enough and about whether holding on to some of the tissue in order to do a reconstruction and not just have a flat closure, would that put me in a risk category that was sort of a selfish category to maybe be in? So I went through the whole thought process, and right up until just a couple of days prior to surgery, I knew there was still a part of me deep down that could at any moment back out of the reconstruction process. And I went so far as to sort of open the conversation up with my husband to say, and I sort of did it as a sort of an example from afar. And I would say to him, like, not everybody chooses reconstruction and not everybody thinks reconstruction is right for them. And to hear him say yes, and that's okay. And honey, are you thinking of that? Because if you are, I fully support you. And that really meant a lot and helped me decide what path I was going to go down. And ultimately, I did decide to go ahead with the immediate reconstruction, with phase 1 being the tissue expanders. The other facts about reconstruction and mastectomy that I wanted to cover here, more regarding the reconstruction aspect of things, is that you do have options. And I don't know that many people are aware of that. But you have the option. You do not have to go with the procedure that your plastics doctor is used to doing and performs all the time. You can opt to do the type of reconstruction procedure that works for you, because you know your body better than anyone else. So if your plastics doctor says, we do reconstruction with an under the muscle approach, but you know yourself that you would prefer an over the muscle approach, you can request that. You can say, no, I'd really, really rather we talk about both options, and I'd like the decision to do it over the muscle, if that's what you prefer. So I will let you in on the fact that yes, I chose to go pre-pectoral or over the muscle because I myself was concerned with animation deformity and the pectoral muscle cutting into, when I say cutting into, I just mean applying pressure to the implant and creating a crease-like deformity in the breast. Now, I'm told that this only happens during certain physical movements, and I'm told that it doesn't hurt. So I'm told that it's strictly a cosmetic thing and that it actually doesn't affect function or form or pain levels. But then when you actually talk to somebody who's had sort of both experiences, first went under the muscle, had some problems, had some pain, and then chose to go under the muscle for their second or third or fourth reconstruction. Yes, that does happen. It's interesting because the personal accounts from actual patients differ so greatly from what your plastics doctor may tell you. Now, this is not for every plastics doctor. I'm not trying to lump everybody into the same category. I'm just saying you have the choice. Ask the right questions. Make sure you get the procedure that you want that's right for you, okay? So ask, and when in doubt, get a second opinion. Sometimes people feel like they don't have a lot of time. That's another fact about mastectomy. You're told you have breast cancer. You're told that you need mastectomy for your best chances of survival without recurrence. What you're not told is that you have time. You don't have all the time in the world, but you have time. Like, you may not have months, but you certainly have weeks. And if you get right on it and ask your general physician, your GP, to refer you first to as many surgical oncologists as you need, and second to as many plastic surgeons as you need, you have the time. So I would really, really recommend that you take advantage of that. I went with the plastics doctor that works in tandem with my surgical oncologist simply for the convenience of it. I liked their approach, although I had my doubts. I did have my doubts about the different personality styles, and ultimately I ended up going with the doctor that works in tandem with my surgical oncologist because I felt his confidence in her, and I knew that it was a personality difference. It wasn't necessarily that of ability or knowledge or procedure or execution. I knew that it was just maybe a mental block that I had with respect to a personality difference or a communication challenge. So I'm happy. Like, I am happy, although it still remains to be seen. I mean, how many procedures I'll need going forward. So you can choose to do whatever procedure you want. Under the muscle is great for providing, so they say, providing a more natural aesthetic result. And going over the muscle, you tend to see more because you don't have anything between the skin and the implant. You just have skin and then implant. There's no muscle acting as a buffer. Although they do use alloderm to help create a pocket, which is interesting. I believe it's usually bovine or porcine, so it's either from a cow cadaver or a pig cadaver. And it's deproteinized so that your body doesn't reject it, and it allows for your natural cellular structure to integrate with that type of tissue, and your body doesn't reject it. and it creates a bit of a stabilizing factor in the breast pocket that's made when you have an implant placed. So having said that, you might have your skin, you might have a little bit of like donated skin, and then the implant. So you may see a little bit more of the implant in the pre-pectoral style than you would post-pectoral or under the muscle. But like I said before, your pectoral muscle is actually not as thick as you think it is. And because the implant doesn't necessarily sit completely behind the muscle actually may chart a path slightly angular over the implant. And then when you flex, it can create pressure on that lower lobe of the breast, the lower pole of the breast, and create an animation deformity. And some doctors will tell you, no, that's not a concern. And others will be real with you and say, yes, that could happen. And then others may even go further, like patients, and describe it even further to say, yeah, every time you pick up grocery bags, you're going to have your breasts super animate and maybe move on your chest to a degree that makes you uncomfortable, makes you self-conscious. It might even cause a little bit of discomfort. So I just want you to be really, really prepared for what choices you have out there. Going over the muscle, as I've chosen to do, is providing me with a bit more of a satisfying result, I think, although I'm not there yet, so I have no idea, but I'll let you know. But I would imagine that anyone going through breast reconstruction due to mastectomy, yes, we want as natural of a result as possible, but there's nothing natural about having your breasts reconstructed. Nothing at all. And frankly, there's nothing natural about having a breast mound over the muscle. Or excuse me, under the muscle. Reverse of that. There's nothing natural about having a breast implant under the muscle. Your natural breast tissue lives above the muscle. So again, nothing natural about breast reconstruction. Nothing natural about an implant under the muscle. So again, I'm not trying to advocate for one or the other. I'm just telling you what's right for me. And going over the muscle, although it may not provide me with the most natural result, in the end, I think that function-wise, I'll be able to perform day-to-day movements of my arms using my pectoral muscles without much super animation or extra movement, I guess is layman's terms, like extra movement, unusual movement, and unusual sort of animation of the breast area. So we're going to get some reasonable facsimiles, but we're not going to get our 100% natural looking breasts back. I've seen some really, really amazing breast reconstructions out there, and sometimes it takes up to 4 reconstructions to get there. So I think also we need to be aware that this is a process and it may not be a short one. So even though I went into this thinking, oh, it's a 2-phase reconstruction where I'll initially have tissue expanders placed, followed by an implant exchange, I mean, the reality is very different. More than likely, it's going to be addressing little things along the way. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I think that's enough information today. And if you have any questions or comments regarding what type of breast reconstruction, whether you should or shouldn't do breast reconstruction, if you're having your doubts, if you're wondering if it's for you, if you're wondering what your choices are, how much time you might have, if you're wondering what type of questions you should be asking your surgical oncologist or your plastic surgeon, leave your comments and questions below. I don't know all the answers, but I'll help you formulate the questions so that you can get the right answers. I'll do my best. That's all I can really do, is do my best to help connect you with myself and help provide you with a more relatable case and just a way for you to get your thoughts out and to the right people. So leave your questions, comments below, hit that subscribe button, No Cure for Happy, hit that bell so that you know when a new video comes out, and hit that like button. Show me some love. And thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone's time and efforts, and I'll see you all as usual in the next video.